This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on February 24th, 2012. Our time, 8:45 Mountain, 10:45 Eastern. The radio show runs on AM 640 in Toronto, 630 CHED in Edmonton. If you miss a radio show, they're archived on Harold's website, HESradio.com, also on rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Harold's other website is hsfineauctions.com. The next auction, we'll talk about it later in the show. This Monday, February 27, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. So stay tuned for that. If you ever miss a radio show, the radio shows are archived, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and what a week it was. Greece got a bailout, and then almost immediately afterwards, everyone was saying they will end up defaulting anyway. How crazy. Also, oil going up, gas prices going up. The Iranian situation continues to be tenuous. Hard assets doing very, very well. Gold and silver had an amazing week. We have big news on diamonds. We'll talk about it later in the show. And Harold, you made a great call on oil. You were saying for quite some time when people were calling for it to go down that, no, wait a minute, based on a lot of different fundamentals, the oil market was going to do well, and you were bang on again.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, and congratulations to all of our clients that took that advice. Oil is trading at $109 a barrel. Again, we're predicting that we will see anywhere from $170 to $200 oil this year, and possibly as high as $250. So, again, the oil market is moving substantially. We had a huge week in oil. In fact, it went up as much as $3 in 2 days this week. So, very pleased with that. It's not that, we're looking for oil to go up, because it is very costly for people to survive when the price of oil goes up. But it's my job to let you know what's happening in the market so you can take that information and do with it as you please. Many of my listeners to the radio show and clients went out and bought oil. We had recommended that you buy U.S. oil, and that's doing extremely well. Again, we're very bullish on that market anyways, because, again, there are shortages in the oil market, and with what's happening with Iran, the fact that Iran's oil is basically off the market, Saudi Arabia has come out and said that they will make up the difference, but there's no way in the world that they can do that. So, again, we're heading for $200 oil. Brace yourself for that. It's extremely inflationary, and if you don't own hard assets, gold, silver, diamonds, those type of investments, that oil market is going to eat you up. So will inflation. So basically this week was amazing. We talked about it last week, that gold had to break 1750 and close 2 days in a row above 1750, and that did happen this week. Got a little bit of profit taking on Friday, but as we're taping the show, we've been all the way up to 1781, so we're getting very close to the all-time high of gold at $1,900. We're really only $125 away at this point, and that could be done in 1 or 2 days. So very bullish on the gold market. Again, it's responding to inflation, which is something that we've talked about for a long, long time. You listen to guys like Warren Buffett, and again, I never thought in my lifetime that I'd be talking about Warren Buffett's predictions type of thing, but I believe they're totally off base and totally wrong. I think that he's out of the metals markets. He was bad-mouthing gold in an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I really don't know why in the world a man of his brilliance does not understand that we're going through an inflationary time, not a deflationary time. But again, all these guys that are on Wall Street, they look at the stock market right now as a raging bull, and they're not looking at the fact that we're in an election year. And the fact is, in an election year, things happen to make the economy look substantially better. I live in the United States. I'm a Canadian living in Florida, and I got to tell you that things are not getting better. In fact, again, being an election year, we understand why they do what they're doing. President Obama definitely wants to get reelected, and he probably will, because the job numbers look to be getting better, even though the numbers don't make sense. They look good to the general public. On top of that, the stock market is moving up. Not that the general public is in the stock market, they're not. But again, it makes a case for things are getting better in the U.S. But again, they're really not getting better, because when you owe almost $16 trillion, things can't get better, especially when you cannot pay that debt normally. You have to print money in which to print it, in which to pay it. So gold broke $1,750 this week. We had 2 closes in a row above $1,750. The next level for gold, there will be minor resistance levels along the way, way, but gold should hit $1,900 fairly quickly. In fact, it could hit that before the first quarter is over. 1,900 is the old high in gold. We are predicting $2,200 to $2,500 gold this year, and I feel very strong that we'll come very close to those numbers. Don't forget, we started the year in gold below $1,600. In actual fact, around $1,550. If we actually did hit $2,500 gold, you realize that's a $1,000 move in gold in 1 year. That's almost unheard of, but we do believe that that is very possible. In fact, gold has gone up from 15 and change to almost 1,800 within the last 45 days. And silver has done actually better than gold has. Silver, we had to break $34, as we, said last week. Two closes above $34 would confirm a further breakout in silver. So silver broke $34. We had two closes in a row above there. We've traded on Friday as high as $35.78. So the silver market looks excellent. There will be a minor resistance at around the $38 level, but the next major level for silver is $44, which again is about another $9 move from where it is right now. We started the year in silver basically trading at around $28 in that area. I'm sorry, $26, and we've basically seen a $9 move in the last 6 weeks in silver. So again, very quietly, these numbers are getting bigger and bigger, and for those that are not paying attention, these markets can get away from you fairly quickly. Again, gold looks great. Next major move for gold should take it to 1,900. Silver looks amazing. We had two closes above 34. We should see a rise to $44, and then we anticipate that by the end of the year, we could see silver break the old high of 50 and possibly go as high as 60. Now, those are our top-end numbers. Again, 2,500 for gold is about a $1,000 move from the beginning of the year till the end of the year, and that's substantial. With silver, it could actually make a move from 26 all the way up to $60 to $65. That's more than doubling the price of silver in 1 year. So we're extremely excited about that. If you're not in the markets at this point, these markets are moving for a reason. We know that the governments don't want to see gold and silver go higher. We know that the Wall Street doesn't want to see gold and silver go higher, but the market is making bigger moves than any other market out there at this particular time. So gold and silver look great. I would be a major buyer of silver in and around the $35 level. Again, I think that we have a chance of seeing $50 to $65 silver this year, and ultimately, before this whole thing is over the next 4 to 5 years, we do anticipate that silver could be at $200 before this whole thing is over. Buying it obviously in the $35 range could give you as much as a 600% return on your invested dollar. Oil market, again, we anticipate that oil will continue to rise, even though the forces that be, meaning the governments, do not want to see oil prices go higher. They're trying to recover the economy, and basically we're looking at very high gasoline and oil prices. In fact, just one day this week, we saw the price of gasoline go up 6 cents in 1 day. So in the States, they're paying around $4 for a gallon. I know in Canada it's more than that. And don't forget, this is going to continue. In actual fact, if oil is moving at this particular time, this is not normally the time that oil makes these tremendous advances. Now, obviously, there's problems in the Middle East with Iran, and that's something that we should talk about for a couple minutes, because I just don't see that situation going away. There's no way in the world that I see Iran backing down from the threats from the U.S. and Britain and other countries. In actual fact, I do anticipate that this is going to get worse and worse. So if you're not in oil at this particular point, I still recommend that you can buy an oil ETF called USO, U.S. oil, and that's one way that you can hedge against higher oil prices. The thing is about oil is that we use it every single day in our cars, in our house, in almost everything that we use. Plastics are made from oil and everything. So the fact is we're addicted to oil. And with Iran's oil being off the market at this particular point, that means that countries like China and Russia and other countries like that, and Britain basically, have to get their oil from other places. And the prices are going higher and higher. So basically what's happening with Iran is that we've seen their dollar plummet about 60% since December. That's killing them. On top of that, their inflation rate is skyrocketing. That's up to 20% a month. And that basically means that with a much weaker currency and 20% inflation, that's putting them into a horrible financial situation. But what this does with Iran, I mean, you would think that maybe they would get smart and buckle under to the pressure, but they're not. They're not going to buckle under, and the fact is that they will try to cut off the Strait of Hormuz by mining it. We've talked about that for months now, and that is more than likely going to happen. And that will stop about 30 or 40% of the Gulf oil getting into the Persian Gulf, and that's why we feel that oil prices could go to 200. The other thing is that there's more than likely going to be a war between Israel and Iran. In fact, Iran came out last week, and they literally threw the American investigators that were looking to go into Iran and determine the state of their nuclear facilities, and they basically wouldn't let them in and look at it. So those are war situations. Those are situations that could get out of hand so quickly, and Iran, even though they couldn't match up to the United States with firepower, they could certainly do some serious damage to Israel. And Israel is not a country that backs down easily. In fact, they're a fighting machine. So, again, I think that things are going to escalate in the Middle East between Iran and Israel. Again, it is an election year, so there is politics going on. But I know that Iran is getting incensed by this loss of oil, loss of their currency, high inflation, and just the fact that the U.S. is able to do this to them is just absolutely infuriating for them. And I do believe it's going to cause a massive problem. So, again, obviously, with what's happening this week, you've got the governments out there that do not want to see oil going higher, but oil's gone basically this year from around $90 all the way up to $109. We've seen a massive move in oil, in spite of the fact that the governments are trying to talk down the price of oil. The other thing is that gold and silver. We know that the governments and the central banks and Wall Street do not want to see gold and silver go higher. They've beaten them up in the past, but again, silver's gone up tremendously, and so has gold. So all in all, the markets are always going to tell you what is going to happen, and basically where many analysts are talking about deflation and why they were talking about gold and silver going down, they know nothing in regards to inflation and why gold and silver are actually moving. And again, this is extremely important for all of us. We're just hard-working people. We're not the Warren Buffetts, the billionaires of this world that have all the money in the world put away. We're hard-working men and women that have put away some money and had a little bit of success. And basically, we want to keep that money. What does the everyday hard-working family, what chance do they have in these markets when these markets are traded in the way that they are? The fact is that 90% of the money is made by 10% of the people. And all we need to do is go away from what the general public is doing, because in most cases, and I hate to say this, but they're wrong 90% of the time. So basically, there's a reason why gold has gone from $250 to $1,900. There's a reason why silver's gone from $4 all the way up to $50. There's a reason that oil has gone from $18 all the way up to $150 that we saw back in 2008. And all of those situations are pointing to extremely high inflation. And if you don't understand inflation, let me put it to you in the most simplest terms. If you make X amount of dollars and your income is not going up, but the cost of living is going up because of high oil prices and high food prices and your currency, it means inflation. It means that your dollar does not buy as much as it used to, and something is going to have to be cut out, because, again, if your cost of living is going to go up and it's going to cost you more to fill your gas tank, heat your home, and do everything and eat, the fact is that something's going to have to suffer, unless you've made the right strategic moves in your investment portfolio. And what we've always been saying is that this is coming, and it's going to come at such a pace that if you're not in the markets when inflation really hits, forget about it. You'll never, ever catch up. All you'll be doing is chasing the markets, and that's not what we want our listeners to do. The fact is that high inflation, because of low currencies, which is definitely happening worldwide, high oil prices and the high food prices, you need a hedge against inflation. There's very few investments that will hedge you against inflation. One of them is certainly gold. That's why gold is trading where it is right now. Number two is silver, and the other one is diamonds. And those three markets are the markets that we've been recommending to you for 10 years now. And they've done nothing but go up in value. And we're nowhere close to where we believe these markets are going to hit when full-fledged inflation really does come. The U.S. dollar, as we're talking, just at the beginning of January, was basically trading up and around the 82-cent level. Now the U.S. dollar is down to 78.31. So we're getting down there again. There's very heavy support in the U.S. dollar at 71.50. Once that price is broken, forget about it. The price of the U.S. dollar will plummet, and that's got to happen because the Federal Reserve has already told us that they're going to keep interest rates at zero till at least 2014. That means the U.S. dollar will continue to weaken and weaken and weaken at a time when metals are going higher and higher and inflation is moving higher. So a weak dollar buying higher oil prices and higher food prices is where inflation comes from. Again, also the Canadian dollar. We're at par with the U.S. dollar, which is a phenomenal situation at this particular time, but I know that the Canadian dollar is going to go substantially higher. In fact, I just invested a ton of money in physical Canadian dollars. So I've owned a lot of Canadian dollars for quite a while, and I do hedge that because I am in the American market and in the Canadian market. However, for my own personal portfolio, I want you to know that I do own a lot of Canadian dollars. And again, the Canadian banks are in better shape than the European banks and the U.S. banks. But again, when a bank goes under, especially these larger ones, they all borrow from each other. They're all intertwined with each other. And again, even though things look stronger in Canada than they do in Europe and the States, believe me, no country is infallible at this point, and we are all susceptible to what these market conditions are. The leverage in these derivative markets is so extreme that it could literally bring down the financial markets as we know them. And that's why it's extremely important that we have insurance on our livelihood, on our financial livelihood, meaning you need to own something like gold, silver, and diamonds that will react to high inflation and to a weak dollar. And that's why these markets are doing what they're doing. So again, I think that at this particular point, we've seen since the beginning of January, these markets have taken on a life of their own. I'm extremely pleased for the listeners of our show that are in these markets because, again, the gold and silver markets have taken off, oil's taken off. Many of our listeners have taken our advice and our recommendations. And again, this week was a major payoff for all of us. Congratulations to everybody that had the guts to go out there and buy gold, silver, diamonds, and oil. I think you should be very proud of yourself. And again, we had an absolutely amazing week.
You're probably wondering, what is the next step? If you've been listening to us for a long time, have done nothing, or listening for the first time, we want you to become educated on investing in precious metals. The company to do that, the only company Harold recommends, Worldwide Precious Metals, a Canadian company in business for over 10 years. The entire time this bull market has run in precious metals, they're the experts in this field. That's all they do. They are the experts. They will educate you about the ins and outs. Let them earn your business. The website, wwpmc.com. The telephone number to connect with them, 1-866-623-2002. This is the only company Harold recommends you use. They are the experts in this very specialized field. A lot of people out there claiming to be experts, they do not have a clue. You don't want to deal with them. Deal with the people that know the ins and outs, have been through all the ups and downs. The telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. Their website, Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com. You can receive our free weekly newsletter, the companion to our radio show from Worldwide. They'll be happy to send it out to you free of charge via email. In the newsletter this week, we have our charts of the week and quotes and quick hits, information on diamonds, hsfineauctions.com, gold, silver, the sovereign debt crisis, U.S. debt and deficit problems, gasoline and nat gas, inflation, jobs, the real estate market, and the geopolitical situation. Should mention one chart that I found very fascinating in our chart of the week section. This is something I found at the end of the day yesterday, and I personally believe there is a massive debt crisis coming to the United States. The chart of the week, America's per capita government debt worse than Greece. The office of Senator Jeff Sessions, ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee, showed this chart that America's per capita government debt is worse than Greece as well. Ireland, Italy, France, Portugal, and Spain. You can see that chart. Get that chart. a debt crisis is coming to the United States. 1-866-623-2002. You can get that chart and read it. The United States per capita, $44,215. Ireland, $43,887. Italy, $40,475. Greece, $38,937. France, $33,491. Then you have Portugal at $19,989 and Spain, $18,395. The United States, their deficits, their debt, it's all out of control. And eventually, as we've talked about on our show before, you have a sovereign debt crisis, the United States in serious problem with their debts and deficits. Then you have cities borderline bankrupt. You have states that are in trouble. You have pension funds in trouble. It is a recipe for disaster, and it eventually will come back to haunt the United States. It's just a matter of the timing. That's why we advocate having an insurance policy in your portfolio, precious metals. In our newsletter, we have a silver section. Stephen Lieb was interviewed by King World News. Eric King does a great job every week at King World News. Here's a silver update from money manager Stephen Lieb. He says, I think silver will go to new highs reasonably quickly. Silver may pause briefly at 45 to 50, but this will be a game of chicken. The industrial users want silver, and they are competing with investors. The Chinese are going to continue to accumulate silver, and people have to understand the price could start to run away in this environment. If gold begins to move aggressively to the upside, this could cause the Chinese to buy more silver more aggressively than they had originally planned. A breakout here will be significant and could lead to a test of the all-time high in very, very short order. Also, John Embry said, we think the silver supply-demand equation is ultimately better than even that of gold. New industrial and medical uses are exploding, and because silver is poor man's gold, investment demand for silver will go crazy when gold gets priced out of the average citizen's capacity to buy. Given the small size of the market and very limited inventory, the price could go ballistic. And with about a minute left here in our segment, John Embry was interviewed by King World News, and he said on a silver update, silver has moved above $35, and that's a big number. If silver can hold $35 and move on from there, I think we can challenge the old highs fairly quickly. The resistance that silver has met in the last 6 months has been stunning. Silver is a classic case. You know, Eric Sprott and I, we love silver. The very fact that the public can't grasp the fundamentals is a testimony to how effective the other side has been at lying to them. Once silver clears $35 to $37, it will move quickly into the 40s. Once it starts to really gain a head of steam, the very lack of positive sentiment could change quite abruptly. The other thing that hurts silver is the fact that the Dow goes up day after day. The bulk of the public is focused on what the mainstream is promoting, and it's doing well. I think it detracts from gold and silver, which is where silver and gold investors should be. John Embry thinking that obviously gold and silver going much higher from here. Get our newsletter, Speak with Worldwide, 1-866-623-2002, the website, wwpmc.com. And we're going to come back and talk about diamonds. Major week for diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on February 24th, 2012. Our time, 9:10 Mountain, 11:10 Eastern. Radio show runs AM 640 in Toronto, 630 CHED in Edmonton. If you ever miss a radio show, would like to go back and listen to it again, Harold's website, all the shows are archived there, HESradio.com. Also, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. He has another website, hsfineauctions.com. We'll talk about that shortly. The next auction is Monday, February 27, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. Some amazing items going to be auctioned off besides diamonds. There is the silver Libertad, and we'll talk about it. To me, that is one of the most stunning pieces I have ever seen. It was a great week for diamonds. And before we talk about diamonds, remind you that there's only one company Harold recommends you use when it comes to investing in precious metals. That's Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. The telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. Get our free weekly newsletter sent out via email. They'll be more than happy to do it. Let them earn your business. Let them educate you about investing in precious metals. Have that insurance policy in your portfolio during the economic times and geopolitical times that we live in. Harold's website for diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, the featured diamond of the week. This week's diamond, and it is a big one. A 4.56 carat radiant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless diamond. It is stunning. Now, natural colored diamonds embody wealth, beauty, elegance, and all that is most precious and rare in the world today. Learn about investing in rare colored diamonds, investing, collecting at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can speak with Harold at 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. The big news of the week, and it was great promotion. Obviously, we've been talking about diamonds for 6-7 years now, but it was great promotion for those who have invested in diamonds, pink diamonds in particular. It was on the front page of the Edmonton Journal, the business section on Thursday. The real Pink Panther, Australia's largest rose diamond, is discovered. Pink diamonds are one of the most valuable jewels in the world. Now Rio Tinto miners in Australia have unearthed the biggest ever found in the country. The company's Argyle mine, situated in the Kimberley region, produces a staggering 90% of the world's pink diamonds and is describing this example as unprecedented. It is named the 12.76 carat jewel, the Argyle Pink Jubilee, and it may fetch anywhere from $30 to $40 million at auction. A diamond of this caliber is unprecedented. It has taken 26 years of Argyle production to unearth this stone, and we may never see one like it again, says Argyle Pink Diamonds manager Josephine Johnson. The record for the most money ever spent on a jewel stands at $46 million, and I went back and found that story, put it in the newsletter. You can read it. Paid for, it was a rare pink diamond in 2010. It weighed 24.8 carats, and it was bought by British billionaire jeweler Lawrence Graff. Now, the diamond is going to be named the Argyle Pink Jubilee. It's a light pink diamond and is similar in color to the Williamson pink that Queen Elizabeth received as a wedding gift and which was set in a brooch for her during her coronation. The diamond will be cut and polished in Perth by Richard Howe Kim Cam. He has worked for Argyle for the past 25 years and spent the past 2 months assessing this pink diamond. He estimates that it will take 10 days to cut and polish the single stone. He says, "I'm going to take it very carefully. I know the world will be watching. Once the diamond has been cut, a team of international experts will grade it. Subsequently, it will be showcased and sold as part of the Argyle Pink Diamond tender later this year." Large pink diamonds generally go to museums, are gifted to royalty, or end up at auction houses. Rio Tinto noted that Christie's has only auctioned 18 polished pink diamonds over 10 carats in its 244-year history. Think about it, only 18, 244 years. Simply amazing for those that have invested in pink diamonds. You must be so excited right now. And for those that want to invest, obviously speak with Harold, his son Jonathan, and with hsfineauctions.com having their auction on Monday, there are pink diamonds, Harold, a part of that auction. So when we see news like this, it verifies what we've been talking about for the last 6-7 years. Pink diamonds, so rare, so valuable. In the times we're in, they're so coveted, and they must be a part of everyone's portfolio.
You bet, Randy. You summed that up beautifully. I'm so excited about what's happening in the pink diamond market and in the rare colored diamond market in general. Has just been doing absolutely phenomenal, and again, we anticipate that will continue. Obviously, that diamond being discovered is a mammoth news alert, and again, we're extremely excited to see what happens with it. You know, the fact is that a diamond like that, even though it's a light pink, and the diamond that Lawrence Grapp bought was an intense pink, which is a much stronger color. The fact is that they're so rare, and to find a diamond that's over 10 carats that's pink is nearly impossible. Obviously, the statistics that Randy just gave us proves that. Now, the fact is that the Argyle mine produces 90% of the world's pink diamonds, and it's a very, very small number. In fact, it's only about 200 carats a year, enough to fill the palm of your hand. But these diamonds are just phenomenal investments, one, because of supply and demand, but number two, as a hedge against inflation. In 1979 and 80, when interest rates went to 20%, gold went to $850, and inflation was in the double digits, colored diamonds went up 500% in those 2 years. 500%. And the fact is that with colored diamonds, they're a very safe investment because they never, ever fall in price. There are so few of them available. The fact is that they never, ever fall in price, so it's a great asset to own. On top of that, you've got countries in Europe going bankrupt. You got currencies changing. You got the U.S., neighbor to Canada, in huge financial problems. You've got inflation coming like we've never seen before. And again, if you do not have a hedge against inflation, gold, silver, or diamonds, you're going to be one of the 90% that's going to lose most of their money, unfortunately, to inflation. So the fact is that there's very few investments that will protect you and give you an insurance policy against higher oil prices, and diamonds happen to be one of them. So let's talk about that quickly. Then we're going to talk about HS Fine Auctions, which is so exciting, and that's coming up on Monday. But basically, even though we carry all types of colored diamonds, reds being the most rare and the most expensive at $2.5 million a carat, we're not saying to chase after those markets. Those markets just continuously do better and better and better every year because there's so few of them available. I'm recommending to my listeners and clients yellow flawless diamonds. In fact, yellow flawless diamonds, fancy yellow, fancy intense, and fancy vivid, are becoming nearly impossible to get. Last year, I put up an awful lot of money, several million, to buy out the entire rough diamond market in yellow diamonds, and that's exactly what we did. It's taken a year to cut and polish all of these diamonds. Once they're cut and polished, we sent them all to the Gemological Institute of America in New York, known as GIA, and they're a nonprofit organization that grades diamonds. You never buy a diamond that is not graded by GIA. So anyways, once they grade these diamonds, then they come back to me, and then we put them on our website and offer them to our clients. These diamonds are phenomenal assets. They're very safe. They never, ever fall in price. They're so safe that these are the type of assets that I've given to my grandchildren, 7 and 5, and I've got another one coming, by the way, in May, and she'll have some yellow flawless diamonds put away for her also. The fact is that with the world the way that it is, it's not like the 90s anymore when you could have thrown a dart against the Wall Street Journal and find a stock that was going to double or triple, or where you could have put money in real estate knowing that you're going to make 20 or 30% on your real estate in a year. Those days are gone. Those days we won't see again, and for a long, long time. The real estate market in the U.S. is basically destroyed at this point. So the fact is that diamonds, colored diamonds, are real estate in your pocket. It's very difficult to make money nowadays without speculating, and we're advocating not speculating, and you don't want to take any risks in the market because, again, the chances of losing your money are great. We're saying to be very conservative and basically have your assets very close to you. And these colored diamonds are so beautiful and they do so well during times of high inflation that a $20,000 diamond today could easily be worth $100,000 in 5 years from now with the inflation that's coming. And the reason that I say that is that we saw that happen in 79 and 80 under almost identical circumstances to what we have right now. So we very strongly recommend yellow flawless diamonds while you can get them. In fact, I was doing a little research over the weekend, and Randy had sent to me, and we will send this to anybody who wants it, some of the most amazing colored diamonds that have been sold at auction. And one that caught my attention because, again, most of my clients do own yellow flawless diamonds, is how well yellow flawless diamonds have done at auction. However, there was a diamond last year. There was a 2.5 carat fancy vivid yellow marquee. But it was not flawless. It was a VVS1, and it was in a Bulgari setting. Now, a 2.5 carat fancy vivid yellow internally flawless diamond, and I have one on my website, is worth about $100,000 to $110,000. And that's what Christie's, the experts at Christie's, said that this marquee was going to sell for, even though it wasn't flawless, it was in a beautiful ring. Do you know that it sold for $960,000? So you had last year a 2.5 carat fancy vivid yellow marquee VVS1 diamond selling for $960,000 when the experts said it would sell for between $100,000 and $150,000. Well, I have on my website one of the most beautiful vivid diamonds you'll ever see in your lifetime. It's a 2.40 carat fancy vivid yellow square cut diamond, and it's internally flawless, which is the best you can possibly get, and that diamond is in the $110,000 range. So that'll just show you that once we put that diamond into a magnificent setting, and the client sits back for a few years and lets the diamond go up and up and up in value, that's a diamond that could be sold for a fortune down the road. So we are recommending very highly that you look at our selection of yellow flawless diamonds. You go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You go to the loose diamonds section and start off looking at our yellows. Even though there's many, many different colors of yellows, we only deal in the three best colors, which are fancy yellow, fancy intense yellow, and fancy vivid yellow, and those are the diamonds that you want to invest in. They never go down in value. They double in price every 4 years. There will be a 25% increase in these diamonds coming up in September. So if you're in a position to invest in these, now is the time to do so. We bought out all the rough diamonds from last year, and we're doing the same thing this year. And out of all the money that we spend buying these yellow diamonds, most of them were not flawless. We sold those off to jewelers and other dealers. The ones that were very high-level flawless yellows, we kept for our clients. And those are the diamonds that you want to invest in, and they are absolutely sensational diamonds. We ship them directly to you, and we help you with the shipping, the insurance, and the taxes coming into Canada. And we deliver the diamond directly to you so you own it outright. We send you our newsletters each week. We send you auction results, and when the time comes to sell the diamond, we're about the only company that can resell your diamond for you because we own our own auction business to resell our clients' diamonds. The other diamonds that I recommend very highly, we touched on already, are these Argyle Pinks. They are the most beautiful diamonds you could ever possibly imagine. They're one of the best investments you could make, and the fact is that the mine that produces 90 to 95% of them is going to close within the next 4 to 6 years. Give it 2 years for these diamonds to run out. We anticipate that these Argyle Pink diamonds will increase 10 times what today's prices are. So while you can still get these diamonds, I very strongly recommend the Argyle Pinks and the yellow flawless diamonds, and those are very safe investments that will get you to where you need to go financially. The Europeans call them real estate in your pocket. You could literally walk around with $1 million diamond in your pocket and nobody would even know it. You can cross a border with it, nobody would even say boo to you, but try to cross a border with more than $10,000 in cash in your pocket and see what happens. Confiscation and possible jail time. So again, you want to invest in the safest and most amazing assets in combination with other investments. And again, it's not for everybody. Our minimum investment is $16,000. That's what our minimum diamond goes for at this point, and we have diamonds going up to in excess of $35 million. So we have anything for any investor. Most of our clients that invest in diamonds invest, between $25,000 and $50,000. So again, you do not have to be a multimillionaire in which to invest in the rare colored diamond market, which is one of the best investments you'll ever make. Now, one of the things about investing in diamonds over the years has been how do you resell them? And that's been the only negative to investing in diamonds because, again, people that have gone out, known that rare colored diamonds or diamonds in general are excellent investments and go out and invest in them without knowing much about them, find when they go to sell them that if you go try to sell it to a jeweler or something like that, they're going to try to rape you and you're not going to get anywhere near what that diamond is worth. Now, we own H. Siegel Fine Auctions, and the way you get to that is hsfineauctions.com. And if you go on that site, you're going to see the most amazing auction you have ever seen. This is not like Christie's and Sotheby's where you have to go there in person. This is not like eBay or Rappaport or any of those other auction sites where you sit there and go online and put in a bid and, there's no enthusiasm, no sales involved, and you find out a few days later whether you won anything or not. My auction site is state-of-the-art. It's the only live, real-time auction website ever built. built, and I built it for my clients to be able to resell their diamonds and high-end collectibles when the time is right to do so. Now, we've had 3 auctions, and the 4th auction is coming up on Monday, February the 27th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time and 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Go on the website this weekend. First of all, look at the catalog. You are going to see items up for bid like you have never seen in your life before. The first item coming up for bid is a Tiffany silver coin with true Tiffany glass in it. It's impossible to get. You couldn't get one of these coins if you wanted to, and we have one coming up for auction on Monday the 27th on our website. Wait till you see this coin. It will literally take your breath away. It's 2 ounces of pure silver, but again, the real value of this is Louis Comfort Tiffany making this magnificent silver coin, and again, it's in very, very, very tight supplies. Hardly any of them were made for the world. We've got a very amazing religious coin set being sold. It's the Pope's 25th anniversary coin set, and it is a gold and silver coin. It is something that you will never see again, and it is absolutely magnificent. We've got the first Euro anniversary coin. It's a 10... It's a beautiful set of gold and silver. It's the first Euro anniversary coin set. We've got the Kookaburra silver proof 10-ounce silver coin. It's pure silver, 10 ounces. It's coming up for auction. It's absolutely beautiful. As Randy mentioned, we've got the Libertad, which is the Mexican currency. It's a kilo. It's 32.15 ounces of pure silver, but this is the 2004, the one that's almost impossible to get. And again, it's on our website. I've displayed this particular coin in my home, and people that have come into my home and seen it, the way it's displayed, have absolutely loved it and commented how beautiful that particular coin is. Then we have another kilo coin that's coming up for auction. It's the Year of the Monkey. It's a 1 kilo silver coin with a diamond in its eye, and again, it is absolutely one of the most sought-after coins in the world markets today. Then there's a .42 round, brilliant, fancy purplish pink argyle diamond. Numbered, everything is phenomenal about this diamond. The next diamond that's coming up for bid is a 113 carat cushion cut, pure fancy green diamond ring. You have never seen, in most cases, a pure green diamond. They're amongst the rarest diamonds in the world, and this is in a beautiful, magnificent setting. To get a green diamond over a carat is nearly impossible, and for all those collectors out there, your collection will never be complete unless you own a green diamond, which are nearly impossible to get. This beautiful green is coming up for auction on Monday. Then there's a .26 fancy, radiant cut fancy purplish pink argyle. There's a 28 radiant fancy intense pink argyle. There's one of the most beautiful emerald cut diamonds you've ever seen coming up for auction. It's a 30-point emerald cut fancy intense pink. And then there's also a .31 radiant cut fancy intense pink. Now, I did have one of the only flawless pink diamond rings ever on the website, but it sold privately last night. So again, we've got some of the most beautiful diamonds coming up for auction, and we built this auction site for our clients. So the thing is, if you are a client of Rare Color Diamonds or of mine in general, Harold Siegel's, we will sell your high-end collectibles for you on our auction site. Anything that you buy at auction, you can resell down the road at auction. However, if you're not a client of ours, if you have been dealing with these copycat companies that are copying what we do, their diamonds would not be able to be sold on our website. And that's not that I'm being, a bad guy about it. I 100% guarantee everything that is sold on my auction site. And again, I cannot do that when you bought diamonds or with diamonds bought from other dealers. So again, go to HS Fine Auctions. Go to the catalog section first. Look at our beautiful display of items that are going to be auctioned off on Monday the 27th. Also, then go to the Getting Started section, click on that, fill in your information. Now, you don't have to participate if you don't want to, but you cannot watch the auction if you don't fill in the information and get started. So even if you don't want to bid, you just want to watch for the first time, fill out the information. You'll get your own password. you want to come on at 8 o'clock Eastern Time or a little bit before that, because at exactly 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain, I will come on live and start the auction, and we will start off by selling that Tiffany coin. I can pretty well assure you every item on this website, on this auction site, will sell on Monday. In fact, we've had 100% on our first auction and 90% on our second too. So again, we're extremely excited about this. You want to be in the coin and diamond market and in the gold and silver market during times of high inflation. So again, look at our website, hsfineauctions.com. The next auction is on Monday the 27th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain. And again, we'd love to see you on. We should have about 300 or 400 people online, many of them bidding on these one-of-a-kind coins. And again, some of them will be under $1,000. So again, you can get involved and not have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get involved. Again, we have something for everybody here. And again, I urge you to go to the website this weekend and look at some of the most beautiful items you've ever seen come up for bid. In the meantime, the featured diamond this week on rarecolordiamonds.com, one of the rarest diamonds you'll ever see. To get a diamond that's flawless, yellow, and almost 5 carats is nearly impossible, and a diamond like that will do nothing but make you money, because large yellow flawless diamonds are selling for an absolute fortune at auction, and we have several, as I put a lot of money back into the yellow flawless market and into the Argyle pink market.
One thing about that Tiffany silver coin that makes it so unique is the stained glass window. It is so fascinating to see the stained glass window within a coin. And the other thing I wanted to touch on was the Libertad. It is a museum piece. It's something that you would think you'd find from a shipwreck where they found all this gold and silver. It is stunning. Be a part of this auction Monday, this coming Monday, February 27, at 8 Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. If you'd like to learn more about investing in diamonds, Harold's website, rarecolordiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022 to invest in precious metals. We have about 3 minutes left in our show here. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals. Their telephone number, 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002. Give them a chance to earn your business. They're the experts in this very specialized field of investing in gold and silver, platinum, palladium, and let them educate you about the ins and outs of this market. Whatever precious metal need you have, they can fill. Speak with them. Their website, www.pmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002. In our newsletter, one thing I wanted to get to before the end of the show, in the gold section, Dr. Martin Mirenbield, he had actually 42 must-see gold outlook chart scenarios, and he has 10 bullish factors for gold. He says monetary reflation, the recession, unemployment, the debt situation. They're going to print money, and we've seen that. That's bullish for gold. Number 2, global imbalances. The dollar is fundamentally weak. That is good for gold. Also, the global forex reserves, they're excessive. Too many people in the U.S. dollar, people diversifying into gold. Also, central banks are buying, not selling gold. That is a huge attitude change. Gold is not in a bubble. It has room to rise. Mine supply, it's only up very modestly. And gold is getting to be very, very hard to find, as is the case with diamonds. There's huge investment demand from the Asian market as it deregulates. Also ETFs. The commodity price cycle has many years to run thanks to the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Geopolitically, we're seeing what's happening with Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, North Korea, and inflation in the emerging markets all around the world. It's boosting local demand. I was watching Bloomberg, and they were talking about a restaurant chain in the United States predicting 8% food inflation. And yet, governments tell us, oh, no, there isn't any food inflation. Yeah, right. Okay. You bet. Harold, we have about 30 seconds left here. It's been a fantastic show. I would encourage people to get our newsletter because we have so much more information we couldn't get to. But we obviously had a great week in precious metals. Diamonds, that announcement from Rio Tinto. The auction coming up Monday. It was just a fantastic week.
Very, very pleased with everything. Again, congratulations to all the listeners and clients out there that are doing well. Again, I think that the markets are looking fabulous. Please come to the auction on Monday. We'd love to see you all there, whether you participate or just watch. But again, it's very, very exciting, everything that's happening for all of our clients and listeners. I want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
I would encourage people to take part in the auction. It doesn't cost you a thing. You can just go sign up and watch, see how it all plays out. hsfineauctions.com. Next auction Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. And Worldwide Precious Metals. Let them earn your business when it comes to investing in precious metals. They're the experts in this very specialized field. www.pmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.